Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. In your headlines today, ExxonMobil partners to make no less than $5.7 billion this year from Stabroek Block, but deny Guyana fundamental right to full coverage insurance. Government gives EPA thousands to monitor billion-dollar oil operation. 3 dead, 4 missing after Nigerian FPSO explosion, and money in budget to review Exxon's 5th project this year. Audits outside of Stabroek Block to be undertaken. And government seeks new builder for Demerara River Bridge, ends negotiations with Chinese firm due to high costs. Meanwhile, PNCR calls on police to probe bribery allegations against Jack Dio. Stay tuned for the full details of these stories and more.
Nothing in life is free, but the MyDigiCell app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance. Activate a Prime bundle or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burby's bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the MyDigiCell app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel. Better together.
And now for the news in detail. The Liza Unity, Guyana's second FPSO vessel, comes into operation no later than next month. Once this occurs, it will complement activities at the Liza Destiny FPSO, taking production to 340,000 barrels of oil. The Stabroek Block partners, including ExxonMobil, Hess Corporation, and Sinnock Petroleum, will walk away with no less than $5.7 billion in profits. Now, despite being able to make multi-billion-dollar profits for its shareholders via its prime Guyana assets, Exxon and its partners continue to deny the country full coverage insurance, which is a fundamental right so that nations can cover any costs associated with an oil spill or other type of disaster. In other news, production for first oil in Guyana was had in December 2019. But from then to now, Guyana's monitoring of the crude being extracted from the Stabroek Block has been largely dependent on the information provided to the local authorities, primarily the EPA. According to Minister with responsibility for parliamentary affairs and governance, Gail Teixeira, this year the administration is investing a few thousand US to monitor the production of billions of dollars. This much was made clear to the members of the National Assembly on Monday, when the legislative body met with its committee to supply to consider and approve the expenditure for which the EPA would be receiving in excess of $500,000 to boost its capacity in this regard. With in excess of 10 billion barrels already discovered in the Stabroek Block alone thus far, Guyana's oil and gas section is essentially a U.S. multi-trillion-dollar operation. And moving on. As the search and rescue team intensifies their efforts to locate the remaining crew members that were on board the Nigerian FPSO, which was recently exploded, authorities have confirmed that the 3 persons were found dead, 3 alive, and 4 still missing. It was reported that during the wee hours on Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022, the Nigerian production and storage ship with approximately 60,000 barrels of crude stored on board exploded. Nigeria Minister of State for Environment, Chief Sharon Ikezor, last week announced that the fire on the Trinity Spirit was extinguished and approximately 60,000 barrels of crude were on the FPSO at the time. According to the minister, the cause of the fire is still to be determined. A Sheba Oil Exploration and Production Company Limited official noted too that the extent of the damage is still unknown, but the ship was able to store up to 2 million barrels of oil, and the explosion raises serious environmental concerns. And now let's tell you, government over the years has been criticized for the way in which it has been approving field development plans for the oil and gas sector, as well as the manner in which it has allowed timelines with regard to the audits of exploration costs by the oil companies operating here. It was disclosed to the National Assembly during the scrutiny of allocations for the Ministry of Natural Resources on Tuesday that the administration has in fact allocated money this year to pay for the review of ExxonMobil's 5th development in the Stabroek Block, Uaru 1 and 2 discoveries. Further, it was noted that in addition to $10.7 million allocated for the audit of exploration expenses in the Stabroek Block 2018 to 2020 and years prior, the government would also this year be looking to finally audit expenses for 7 other oil blocks that had been awarded. And now let's tell you the contract with China State Construction Engineering Corporation Limited to build the $53.7 billion new Demerara River Bridge has been terminated. This is according to Vice President Bharat Jagdeo. At an event held earlier this year, Minister of Public Works Juan Edgell had mentioned that a specially appointed team was concluding the negotiations and all the administrative details to prepare for the signing of the contract for the new bridge. The Vice President explained that the government will now move to the second-ranked bidder for the project. When the final set of tenders was opened for this project in October last, 4 Chinese constructing firms were vying for the contract. And moving on, with new allegations of corruption and bribery surfacing against Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, the largest party in the political opposition, the PNCR, has called on the Guyana Police Force to investigate the reports. On February 1st, 2022, the Vice President was interviewed by an American media company, Vice News, where he was questioned about alleged kickbacks received from a Chinese national project. That should be from Chinese national projects. Leader of the PNCR, Aubrey Norton, said that while it is only obvious for the Vice President to deny the allegations, the police force must be called in to perform its duties. Another option, according to the PNCR leader, for Jagdeo to put the allegations to sleep is by making his bank accounts public. The time is now 12 hours 8. We will return after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. According to Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa, Gaisuko is too big to fail, and the government will continue to plug tax dollars into the cash-strapped institution. Different administrations had to plug several $billion into the industry, $30 billion from 2020 to last year, and another $4 billion for this year. Minister Mustafa informed the House that at the shuttered Rose Hall estate, the administration has already rehired 500 persons that had been sacked at the previous administration. Regarding the $30 billion bond that was secured under the coalition administration through NISL, Minister Mustafa reported that in 2020, when the PPPC took office, there was only $3.8 billion remaining. To this end, additional money had to be injected into the industry. An industry, the House learned, that is headed by a turnaround chief executive officer who was paid some $1.4 million monthly in addition to other benefits. And moving on, Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai, announced that there will be no National Tushaus Council or NTC conference this year, as she accused some Amerindian leaders of flouting the gazetted COVID-19 guidelines and refusing to be vaccinated. The NTC is a semi-autonomous body comprising all Tushaus. The executive committee is formed with one Tushau from each of the 10 regions. The NTC promotes good governance in the villages as well as prepares strategies and plans for the protection, conservation, and sustainable management of Amerindian lands and other resources. It is also responsible for crafting plans to reduce poverty and improve access to health and education and other critical services. Meanwhile, the Committee of Supply on Monday evening approved $660 million for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to pay for legal fees in the Guyana-Venezuela border case, which is currently before the International Court of Justice. Guyana moved to the ICJ with its case in March 2018, challenging non-participating Venezuela over its disagreement on the legal validity and binding effect of the October 3, 1899 award. Venezuela maintained that the ICJ was without jurisdiction to hear the case and had not participated in the matter. However, in December 18th last, 12-4 majority ruling, the ICJ upheld that it has jurisdiction to entertain Guyana's contention concerning the validity of the 1899 award about the frontier between British Guyana and Venezuela and the related question of the definitive settlement of the land boundary. In other news, a 28-year-old carpenter lost his life on Monday after he backflipped into a canal during a swimming date with his girlfriend. He has since been identified as Ramesh Ramphal of Britannia Village, West Coast, Berbice. He reportedly died around 17 hours at the Tempe Canal. That afternoon, Ramphal and his girlfriend Rochelle Craig had gone to the canal for a swimming date. While having fun, Ramphal decided to do a backflip plunge into the canal as his girlfriend sat on the bank of the canal watching him. She told investigators that after he made the plunge, he failed to resurface and reportedly waited for some 10 minutes to see if he would have resurfaced. But when he did not, she panicked and ran to inform his family members who lived about a mile away. And now let's tell you a newspaper vendor, Akeem Rajkumar, called Barney, who is currently before the courts for harboring a suspect in the Wallison Enterprise multi-million-dollar gold heist, is now wanted for murdering Carlos White, a close vendor, on Monday at Leopold Street, Georgetown. Rajkumar, of Leopold Street as well, is in his early 30s and is of mixed race. Investigators believe that he was the one who fatally shot White and issued a wanted bulletin for him on Tuesday. We understand that Rajkumar was implicated in the murder by two other persons who were detained for questioning early yesterday. White was reportedly killed while trying to save his friend from a hail of bullets. And now for your COVID-19 update. 3 men from Region 3 who contracted COVID-19 have died. This is according to the Ministry of Health, which reported that the latest fatalities are that of a 79-year-old, a 52-year-old, a 44-year-old. The country's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 1,185. 118 new infections were recorded, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 61,734. 16 patients are admitted into the ICU, 102 persons in institutional isolation, 4,055 in home isolation, and 18 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 56,376 persons have recovered from the virus. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 15, and we now head over to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News. The review of Field Development Plans, or FDPs, for ExxonMobil's multi-billion-dollar projects has been one of the most troubling exercises conducted by the former and current administration. Both have exhibited a proclivity to rush a process that takes several months to properly complete, a process that allows us the power to reduce costs and challenge the company to be more economical. Both have also displayed absolute recklessness and perhaps a troubling degree of ignorance in their failure to use the FDP approval process to demand from ExxonMobil full coverage insurance for Guyana. As if the foregoing transgressions were not insulting and damning enough, both the coalition and the PPPC government have used ExxonMobil's well-known client, Bayphase Limited, to review that company's FDPs on 4 occasions. The latest contract award to Bayphase was for the review of the Yellowtail documents. Guyanese, do you believe ExxonMobil's well-established client can be trusted to take care of our interest? Certainly this does not augur well for the transparency and accountability that should rule Guyana's oil sector. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Captain Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.